about who has the right to use the roads. In a video posted to Facebook, the unidentified driver is heard to remark that it's a shame he can't hit cyclists. He then sees a puddle up ahead and laughs as he talks about deliberately speeding up to spray the riders. The cyclist reported the incident to police after seeing the footage. The video has since been taken down. We can't show you that video, unfortunately, here on Impact. Professor Chris Pettit researches bike behaviour in Sydney at the University of New South Wales. He's also a recreational and commuter cyclist himself. Thank you very much for joining us, Chris, on the programme. I'm sure you've seen the video. Did you find that surprising at all?
Well, Yelda, I found that quite disappointing, and it's obviously dangerous behaviour. Being a cyclist of cycling around Sydney, I didn't find it completely surprising.
Tell us about the bike culture in Sydney, especially. I mean, I'm from Sydney, so I know what it's like, but just give a sense of it to our audience.
Well, it's a culture which needs to mature. We don't have one of the great cyclable cities at this point in time. Our Lord Mayor Clover Moore is a big supporter of cyclability. We've been doing some analysis, some of the big data that we've got, and we start to look at the trends. We can see some improvements. We can start to see and understand that the lead indicator of cyclability, being females, is only about 19% in Sydney. When we look at some of the great cyclable cities like Copenhagen, we're looking at 55%. So there is some way to go. Recently, we did just bring in some legislation, though, which will hopefully help the cause, where really now we have a 1 metre rule, and that particular lorry driver really in an over 60 km/h area in the airport really needed to be 1.5 metres away from those cyclists. So there is legislation there to help, and we're on a journey to really try and improve the cyclability of Sydney. Oh,
let's just recap some of those figures there that you've given. As you were just saying there, one measure of the bikeability of a city is ratio of female to male riders. In Sydney, it's 19%. Let's have a look at how that compares to other cities in both Australia's second largest city, Melbourne, and London. Just over 1/4 of cyclists are women. In Toronto, the numbers are looking better, with 40% of cyclists women. While in Berlin, the number of female cyclists reaches 43%, but arguably one of the most bike-friendly cities of the world is Copenhagen, where 55% of riders are women. So some incredible differences there. I mean, I think one of the reasons why people don't like to ride their bikes in Sydney is there's a big truck culture as well, isn't there? A lot of highways, a lot of freeways, lots of trucks on the road.
Yeah, sure, that is an issue, and we need more cycle paths which are actually dedicated solely for cyclists, or shared pathways with pedestrians, so we can actually increase that safety and visibility of cyclists moving through the city. So there is a move to increase those dedicated cycle pathways, as we see in cities, great cities like Denmark and Amsterdam, where there's over 35,000 kilometres of dedicated cycle infrastructure.
And perhaps have more women then on the road. We'll have to leave it there, Chris. Thanks so much for joining us on the programme. That was Chris Pettit there from the University of New South Wales.